All right, here we are. We have Down Pat episode number 14. I feel like I say it every single episode, but every episode we jump on here, we're saying, hey, it's another victory episode. We're talking about another win, previewing another tough game. We don't have that part to look to today, but huge win over the Bills. Adam, Jake, how we doing?
Good. I think this is the first time I've ever been live in my entire life. So
same here. That pretty good.
I'm taking a couple of your live V cards. I like that. Well, the pressure is on there. I'll be gentle, I promise. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that win, I don't know if any of us saw that wind coming. Like we were talking before we hit the go live button. Jake's prediction was like 45-42 and a shootout win for the
35.
Patriots.
It was 35-20, Pat.
I remember you saying 50.
It's rounded up every single time.
What's great is that Kevin, messaged me and he was like, "Oh, you got to put in a bet for me. Like you got to hit this over is gonna hit easy." Puts the over and not even remotely close. Kevin took the over and he parlayed it with the Pats money line. So it's like he only does parlays though.
That was maybe the easiest under in the history of betting.
That was after knowing about the weather. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean that was a little crazy to see. But that game, the grinded out sort of like that was such a Patriot type game. And you know what it was? It was almost like that sort of, hey, the Patriots are the Patriots. Like this isn't a fluke. Like Bill Belichick's gonna outcoach you and everything like that. So we might as well just jump right into it again. Jake, I don't know how much we want to value your opinion here when you were 60 points off of your prediction.
I think it was the only one that said they're going to win, by the way. I think you both had losses.
No, and what
so.
big kick Nick I said it was going to win.
Adam had a loss.
But then I bet Patriots money line day of, so with him.
Oh, well.
I changed, the second I saw the weather turn, I didn't have this, I changed my bet, but go on.
I love that they we kind of called the game, like they were going to run the ball. We didn't know to that extreme that it was only three passes the entire game. The one bet I took in this game was N'Keal Harry getting a touchdown. That didn't obviously work out in my favor. And in fact, I think I said this, but he broke my heart that night. I think I'm officially out of N'Keal Harry after that. That was brutal to watch. I mean, that honestly, without that muff punt, really like the Pats kind of dominated the whole game. And I know Allen had some passes at the end, but it never felt like Buffalo really was until the very end, I guess, that last drive. But it never really felt like Buffalo had much of a chance, in my opinion. And they kind of smacked in the mouth from the first couple drives.
I was in the same boat because at one point when Buffalo, I forget what the score was, but it was like a 4-point game, and they got the ball back, and I was like, oh shit! Like I didn't feel like this was even like a competition this whole game. But if Buffalo's go down and score right now, all of a sudden we're looking at having a comeback in the wind, or you're with the wind, I guess. But everything like that, I totally agree. It was dominant. But on N'Keal, we don't have to deep dive into N'Keal, but I think that he actually had he was so crucial to that game. The muff punts, what people are gonna remember, but that dude,
he was blocking. He
was blocking DNs like it was his job all night long. Like I like that. That's not what you drafted him for. So I don't
understand honestly why they had him back there.
Yeah, I would say it was a bad coaching decision. But to go on the game as a whole, I feel like what we saw on Sunday night or Monday night was just the Patriots are just a tougher team than the Bills. And I think what the Bills did is their whole defense is smaller, hybrid guys. Their whole D line, they kind of interchanged. Clearly, like they built that defense to compete with Kansas City. And I think what we saw Monday night was that the Bills probably thought going into this year and from last year that they owned the AFC East and that they were now looking ahead to Kansas City, and they kind of forgot you still have to win your division. And the Patriots what the Patriots did was they just pantsed the Bills. They ran 46 times, right, on 49 offensive plays, and they take the Damian Harris carry away, they averaged 3.5 yards a carry. So they're going to run the ball, and they average 3.5 yards, which doesn't seem like a big number, but to pick up 3.5 yards a carry is absurd when you have 9 guys in the box. That just means they absolutely out-muscled you, and I don't think we've seen a Patriots team this tough going on to like the early dynasty years. I feel like we grew up like in the Tom Brady era when Tom Brady was the MVP quarterback, as people are calling the Patriots the softer team. I looked last night, I'm like, the Bills are playing at home in a windstorm, and their team is built to play in a dome. So that you look at, the Patriots are the tougher team there, and they impose their will. And to them, kudos, because that's why I changed it. Cold weather, bad weather game. I like the Patriots against pretty much any team in the NFL.
I mean, I will say this, even those like QB sneaks, right? Like even those QB
absurd.
sneaks, it's like how do they not? I don't know about that one that they challenged. Who knows? That was kind of like weird, bad challenge because you can't overturn that. But he ends up picking up like, he dives through it. It's like, how do you let, you're running the ball all night long, so start stacking it anyways, right? But now you have like a short situation. A QB sneak is something that maybe you could say is coming, and Mac Jones just squirts through for like 3 yards. It's like you're gonna give the smallest guy on the field here a 3-yard. Like, how did they not? I don't know. It was weird to me because they just knew it was coming. And heading into that, heading into like the second half, they'd only run it outside the tackles like 6 times or something. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, all run game, we're going to try and like mix it up and do a bunch of different types of runs. They were just saying, hand it off, find the hole, and go. And they were just dominating them. Smash mouth.
The dumbest thing the Bills did was give the Patriots ammo for their game in 2 weeks. Like, Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott saying that after the press conference. And then I don't know if you guys saw the say, but Belichick was like, we still have our whole passing game. Like, they haven't seen any of our passing game. I have a feeling they're going to pull out all the stops. Like, you're going to see like a flea flicker or two. You're going to see like a Jacoby Myers pass. Like, they're going to pull out
like
all
a
the
60
stops.
pass type game now.
Yeah, we'll beat we'll beat you running the ball, and we'll beat you just being fancy and like flashy, and we'll beat you both ways because that's how we feel about your team.
I can't believe. What did he say? It was like, let's not get too carried away talking about something.
Bill Belichick getting credit.
Yeah,
right?
And the reason why I did that is because if you don't want to give Bill Belichick credit because that diminishes you with the other coach. And what just happened was you knew they were going to run the ball every play, and they still beat you, which is embarrassing. Like, when they asked the players, I think that was a bad question to say, like, to Micah Hyde and Poyer, like, are you embarrassed? And when those guys freaked out. But it was. That's embarrassing. You just lost that game. And I'll also say this. Like, I wasn't necessarily – I don't know if Bill didn't trust Mac Jones' arm as much in the wind, or if it was more almost Bill was trying to embarrass the Bills. I almost feel like it was the latter. And the game went Damian Harris's big touchdown run and the 2-point conversion. That just gave him the ability. They were never trailing. So that just gave him the ability to run every play and just be like, if I do this, how embarrassing will that look for the other coach? That's honestly what I feel like that was more of than him not trusting Mac Jones. That's just my opinion.
Well, it goes back to last year, McDermott, like, basically treating the Pats wins of the Super Bowl last year when like that was a bad Patriots team, and he finally beats that team, and he's like pounding his chest and whatever. So I think Belichick doesn't like this guy, and I think he wants to just rub it in his face. And he literally told us before the game with his Navy face mask that
Unreal.
Like, he literally said, like, we're going to run the ball every play and try to stop it. And they literally ran the ball every play. So no, I think it was such a FU to McDermott. It was awesome.
I feel like people would like to, like, the logical person would be like, no way Bill, like, is doing this out of spite and everything like that. But, like, you've seen when they flashed to Bill on the sidelines. Remember when he did it? I think it was against the Jets. He did something where he kind of manipulated the penalties and whatnot, and they flash it over to him, and he's, like, smirking and kind of chuckling. You know that he kind of gets off on that, like, I am just, like, toying with you right now. Like, they could have easily thrown a couple swing passes or a couple things like that would count as passes that are just as, even in the wind, kind of secure as runs. But he was saying, oh my God, this is unbelievable. We're just like cutting them up like Swiss cheese. This is great. I will say though, I think I don't care about that bulletin board material. I don't love the fact that the Bills are now going to come out in a couple of weeks or whatever, like absolutely fired up now. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they gave us billboard material, but I don't know.
Jake, to your point, something I just want to touch on. I saw a Doug McDermott quote from last year, and it was after they beat the Patriots. I don't know.
Sean McDermott?
12. Sean McDermott. Yeah, Doug McDermott. Yeah.
Doug McDermott all the way to the Patriots.
Doug McDermott.
I don't know Doug McDermott, but I hate him already.
He could stop the run, I guarantee it.
The basketball player.
Dougie McBuckets, Jake.
Anyways, but
yeah.
But all right, so Sean McDermott said last year when they beat the Patriots, it was like, I don't know, like week 12, and he was like, I'm going to go home, sit back with the wife, and enjoy this one for a few hours. And like you see Bill last night or any game, regardless who he beats, it's always like, it's one game, we haven't done anything yet, blah, blah, blah. I look at McDermott and I see like the Patriots are just better coached than that guy on the sidelines was a freaking mess. He was just, I don't know, Kevin was saying he looks like Bill Buer, like freaking out. Like he does. Like he's got no composure. He looks like a college coach. I think I think the Bills are a good team, and I honestly think he's probably the best coach they've had in our lifetime. Not saying much. And Rex Ryan obviously was good in the Jets. He's kind of a mess in the Bills. But I'm not worried about them in a few weeks. That's the kind of loss that ends a team. They just ran on you 46 times, and you lost at home on Monday night in front of everybody. Yeah, that is emasculating.
No,
and their punt returner Isaiah McKenzie. Do you see that on Twitter?
No, what did he say?
There was a quote McDermott basically, why did you have both your returners inactive? And he said, well, I didn't really trust them. Like, look, and he kind of pointed at N'Keal Harry's thing, and then someone tweeted that like a quote, and then Isaiah McKenzie tweeted underneath and said, "Damn." Like that's how you piss off your players. Like
that's honestly awesome.
That's the type of guy that now Bill's gonna go and pick up or something for next year. Like,
yeah,
that's such a spy movie. He's the next big best punt returner. What do not that this is totally related. We're talking about the run game, but Gear in the chat saying wish they had James White on some of those screen passes. I feel like Bolden's kind of, obviously we don't have the screen passes to really look at. I mean, I guess maybe one or two to look at from last week, but just in general, I feel like this running back group, like Damian Harris plays like that every game. You had Ramondre look good when Damian Harris was getting a breather. Bolden looking nice. Like, I mean, yeah, I wish we had James White too. He probably does a lot of things that Bolden does, but better. But I don't know if that's like an issue with this team this year, right? Like, I think that they've kind of come on.
I actually I was driving today and I thought about this, like, because I was looking at the Chiefs, and we're going to talk about the other AFC teams.
Did you go for a drive?
I did, yeah, to the dry cleaners. Big interview tomorrow. But I thought about this because I was thinking about the other AFC teams, and I was like, looking at the Chiefs in particular, because I think that is the biggest competition to the Patriots, and I would still say the favorites in the AFC. Even though, like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't look great, but I almost look at the Chiefs and their offense circa the mid-2015s Patriots offense, where it was almost like you had Edelman and Gronk, and when those two guys are healthy, they are good. But if either of them go down, I know they won the Falcons Super Bowl without Gronk, but we look at that like 2014 Seahawks Super Bowl, like when you had Edelman kind of in his prime and Gronk in his prime, and they were healthy, and look how great they were. But I was thinking, like, the Chiefs are one injury to Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce away from being what I would say not that scary in offense. The Patriots, on the other hand, I feel like James White goes down. I don't think they missed a beat. Like, I think Brandon Bolden stepped up well. I think Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson complement each other really well. But if one goes down, they can pick up the slack. And even like the wide receivers or the tight ends, if one of those guys goes down, I really do think there's N'Keal Harry might finally get a shot. Like, I don't know. Like, Devin Asiasi is a pretty good depth third tight ends. Like, I think. Or you have Johnny or Hunter Henry for that reason. So I look at the Patriots as like they are more. They've been pretty lucky with injuries this year, but on offense, I'm not that concerned if someone does go down.
Knock on wood.
Jeez.
I am knocking wood, but I'm just saying that team as an offense is more built for an injury than I would say any other team in the AFC. That's just my take. So I don't think the James White thing's hurt them.
I do think that that's fair, because when you look at that Chiefs team, to your point, they don't have, like, I guess, the depth of the next man up, right? Which is like something I feel like the Patriots have coined. But I'll also say is that they are so dependent on how dynamic those guys play off one another. Like Travis Kelce, amazing over the middle type of thing. Why? Because Tyreek Hill has all 11 guys chasing him into the end zone so he doesn't get behind them, and vice versa. The Patriots kind of more of like a grinded out, like fundamental offense, it seems. So yeah, even aside from like having, three dependable tight ends or the depth, it's like how this team works. It's not like they are, and this sounds like I'm saying it as a negative, they're not this like one oiled machine that if one little piece breaks, the whole thing shuts down. It's kind of like they're a machine that, everything's firing. It's like if your power goes out, they still got the generator. Whereas the Chiefs, it's like their house is on one circuit. That power goes out, it's screwed. So I like that. I will say this, though. The Chiefs, I mean, they're getting hot now. They're playing good. Like, if we're banking on injury to beat them, then I think we know where we all stand in terms of, like, these two teams matched up. Then I'm not saying bank on injury, but like that's got to be the real threat here. And the only way I see this Patriots team kind of keeping this, they've been playing really well as of late, but truly keeping up with the Chiefs is sort of that scenario, Adam. Like that's a team that's.
I don't know, Jake. I want you to. Mahomes still isn't right. He's off.
No, their offense is still off. Tyreek Hill's got the case of the drops too, which is killing them almost every week. It seems like he's got something bouncing off his hands. Their defense is actually honestly playing pretty well. And really well. Spagnuolo scares me as a defense coordinator. Like he has the Patriots number in the past. Like I know it's more of Brady, but someone started another comment. Not used to the live thing, but yeah, Spagnuolo has got the defense playing really well. And Chris Jones is the type that could honestly take over a game. So I think it's a good transition though. Like we were going to talk about how we would rank the AFC right now in terms of like a playoff picture. Because I think at this point we can kind of squarely put the Pats in the playoff hunt now. We're not in that the path talk anymore. It's more of playoff talk, right? So I think we can get
99% chance.
Exactly. So move into like who do you want to play? Who do you not want to play?
Don't go back and watch episodes 1 through 3 or 1 through 4.
Yeah, I just skip those.
Episode 1, the preview of the season, we were pretty high.
Okay, that's true. Don't. I would say don't watch like 3 through 6.
Episode 1, we are here now.
Jake wanted Kellen. No, who'd you want?
Kellen Moore.
I was gonna say Kellen.
I still stand by. He's a good coach.
He wanted to fire Bill Belichick and get Kellen Moore in here.
I said if it continued down that road, it was not an unreasonable ask, and obviously Bill shoved it down my throat. So
does Kellen Winslow run the ball a million times against Sean McDermott and look him in the eyes?
Kellen Winslow's in jail.
Wait, to circle back though, and to circle back, Evan, Jake. I think we all said the strength of this team going into the year would be their offensive line and running backs, and it looked pretty good on Monday night.
Hey, who knows football? Who knows football?
We were. I mean, without Trent Brown being hurt, I think honestly, like we would have had this team a lot earlier too. Like, he's made such a huge difference since coming back. Like everything's that offense has really clicked since he's come back. I think they win one of those games they lost with Trent Brown in that lineup. So
what team in the AFC scares you guys the most right now?
Chiefs. If we have to go at Arrowhead, especially, that's a really hard matchup.
I agree the Chiefs scare me simply because of the quarterback, but the team that if they're healthy scares me the most, regardless of where it is Tennessee. I look at them as the Titans scare that game earlier this year. They're without AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, and Julio Jones, so that's a little. But that game was a lot closer in the score. Mike Vrabel's won at Gillette in the playoffs before. Mike Vrabel has Bill's number, kind of. That team is tough, and I also think I think the Patriots and the Titans are pretty similar. The way they play, the way they're coached. I look at the Chiefs and I'm like, and the Bills for that matter, and they don't run the ball. So it's going to be the quarterback and maybe their defenses, but you really don't have to worry about the run game. The Titans, they can throw. They have tools there. AJ Brown's great. I love AJ Brown. Derrick Henry's obviously, if he's healthy, that speaks for itself. And their defense is tough. Like I don't know what
he might come back for playoff time, right?
Yeah. January timeline.
Yeah. Other than the Titans and the Patriots on the AFC landscape, I don't look at any of the teams, and maybe the Colts, but they are.
I was going to say the Colts kind of scare me, and we'll see it. I guess not this week, but the week after. The only thing that is keeping them from being kind of scary to me is Carson Wentz. Like,
yeah,
he's like such a noodle brain. Like they'll get he'll look good for a quarter or two, and then he will do something so dumb against that defense. You're like, what are you doing? It's gonna be a costly play, especially in the playoffs. I feel like
a left-handed interception in your end zone.
Yeah, left-handed. Like Judon's on his back, he throws it left-handed to like Dietrich Weiss, and he houses there something crazy, and it's like, what are you doing, dude? But they have a very good team. The Colts, like top to bottom, they can run the ball. They got a good defense. They got playmakers on that side of the ball. Darius Leonard, good coach. Their wide receivers are actually playing pretty well now. I don't know who that Duval guy is, but he's like catching a touchdown pass every week somehow.
Pittman's legit.
Yeah, Pittman's legit. So Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in the league besides Derrick Henry. So they're a scary team. The Ravens don't scare me at all. I think
they're dead.
They would they're dead. I mean, Belichick would craft up something. He'd make Lamar so one-dimensional in that game. Like, it would be.
I honestly don't know if the Ravens make the playoffs. Like I know they have.
Really?
I know they're what 8-4.
Yeah.
I saw their like they got some tough
What's
games.
their
I don't know.
what's their
They have no
schedule?
defense. Everybody's. It's not their fault. Like the fact that they're 8-4 right now is. Granted, they shouldn't be. Like the Detroit Lions game, they should have lost. Like there's games in there that they've been lucky, but they are so banged up. Like,
Wow, they have a horribly brutal schedule coming up.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Wow.
not convinced the Ravens win more than one game the rest of the way.
They go Browns, Packers, Bengals, Rams, Steelers to end the season.
That is.
Yeah,
That's about as hard as it can get.
Yeah, I'm not convinced they make the playoffs. I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about the Chargers. Chargers
Yeah.
are fake.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Maybe
Steelers I'm not worried about.
The Steelers are bad. The fact that they're winning games is a joke. They're like the AFC is pretty bad. So I think there really is 3 teams right now. 4 teams. I count the Bills too. Bills, Patriots, Titans, Chiefs. I don't look at any other team.
Bengals, nothing there. I think that I mean, sure they. I think the Bengals have. That's what I'm saying. I think that they. Like I know like when Tyler was over on Sunday, he was saying the Bengals are frauds. The Bengals are frauds. I don't know. I mean, the Bengals are what you think they are. They're led by a young quarterback, a young team who's getting better and better. But maybe this year isn't the year. But I don't think that they're like frauds in the sense of like, oh, that's like they're fake good. No, they're just literally on the trajectory of going up, but they're not up yet. You know what I mean?
That's a home playoff game where kind of similar to like the Pats Chargers that year. The Pats like Sonny Michel went off. That's a like home playoff game where the Pats beat them like 35-10.
I think Bill and I just love the coaching advantage in that game. Just like a team that hasn't been there versus that's just coming to Foxborough. Also, I look at that team. I mean, I like Joe Mixon as a player, not necessarily might be, but like I don't know that team.
And when you said that out loud,
you're not inviting him over for Christmas?
I thought you said the opposite. I thought you said you don't like him as a player and like him as a person, and I was gonna be like, buddy.
I just look at a team. They're kind of just soft. Like I don't know. I'm not worried about them in cold weather. They'd be slowed down. Although I mean, as far as a young team, to like they got great pieces like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, like that Joe Burrow. That's a fun team for sure. But
yeah,
this year I'm not worried.
All right, I got to give a shout out here to Ronnie in the chat. He says, Mac Brady putting in that work. 10 years from now, how many titles do we think Mac Jones has? How many? Answer the question. What do you think?
I think it's a good question. I think I said this before the season, actually before they drafted Mac Jones. I said if the Pats had Mac Jones on their team, they will win a Super Bowl on his rookie contract, and I fully stand by that. I think in the 5 years they have on a rookie deal, I have them as at least one Super Bowl win. I know it's hard to bet on, but I think that's kind of where they stand. I think such an advantage cap-wise, and he's so good, so early, can make all the right decisions like we're seeing this year. If it's not this year, I think it's the next 4 years they win a Super Bowl with him. Then you get down to the extending talk, and then it's harder to kind of peg a point, but let's give him one Super Bowl win in the next 5 years.
Jake, I actually agree with you because I also think Bill needs that one. The next 10 year we're talking about, we don't even know who the next coach is.
True.
Bill's not going to be here for 10 years. So
Helen Winslow, he's getting out of the joint, coming to coach.
I got a theory that Bill is going to be here. Jake, I feel like you're going to agree with this. Bill, I think, wants that all-time wins record, which if they go like 10 wins a year, they can do that pretty easily. I feel like Bill's going to be here for Mac Jones' rookie deal. The second they have to pay that kid, he's going to be like, "Firk this! Like I'm out."
Yeah.
I don't because he doesn't like paying the quarterback, so he's not gonna. He loves that rookie deal, so I think. But going forward, the Mac Brady stuff, we gotta see what Mac Jones does in this offseason. The big difference between this year and next year is what that kid's body looks like from this year to next year. He's got to put on some weight. He's got to put on some muscle. Like his body still isn't where he needs to be. His body's similar to what Brady was his rookie year, so I'm not comparing him to Tom now.
Aesthetically, he's like a 6 right now. I'm expecting at least an 8.59.
I gotta see the glow up.
A little glow up, yeah.
A little glow up. Like I don't need to be like GQ quite yet, but he needs to like have a couple photo shoots where I'm like, all right, he's looking pretty good.
He's turning in the right direction here.
Yeah.
Play 12 games. I don't know how many rings the kid's gonna win, but I hope that they win one on his rookie deal. I would say that.
Speaking of rings, I guess this is the sort of, one of the last things we could talk about here, but playoff picture, everything like that. in terms of path to the Super Bowl, because that's being talked about. We almost laughed that off when they talked about a Bucs Super Bowl or Bucs Patriots Super Bowl, anything like that. Like from where the Patriots were when they were, what was their worst record? Were they 2-4?
2 and 4.
So it's like at that point to now, their odds of winning the Super Bowl, everything that have obviously drastically changed. What does that path, I guess, to you guys now look like? Because from what I'm hearing, and I guess from what I'm saying too, like there isn't many teams on, and I'm not saying win the Super Bowl, but there's not many teams on this side of the conference here that it sounds like we're even worried about. Like I think it almost, the way we were talking almost sounds like a AFC AFC shoe-in, you know what I mean? Like to get to the conference, like it's.
I still don't like these next couple of weeks are huge because I still don't like the idea of a rookie quarterback having to win multiple road games in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I do.
The 1 seed's huge.
1 seed's huge. If they get that bye and then they're home, I feel like so much. I would sway the odds of them being a Chiefs, like even like 60-40 at home versus going to Arrowhead with a rookie quarterback in that environment against Mahomes. Like it drops drastically. So, I mean, they got to take care of business. Like the Colts next week, and then the Bills after that. And the Dolphins are even playing well too. That's a sneaky drop a game at the end of the year. Yeah,
especially
that's a classic.
They're playing for the playoffs.
Exactly. That's a classic. Like 1 seed's on the line, and Dolphins come and we lose or we go to Miami, I guess, but we lose the Dolphins, and it's like that kills us. But no, I think the path is there, and if they lock up home field, I mean, I put them right in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, and I have maybe the Bucs Packers in the NFC, and then you want to talk about the path to Brady Belichick again. That's kind of where you would end up.
There's just no respect for the Cardinals in the NFC nationally, or I think the Cardinals get no.
You only respect the Cardinals because your boy Bill is a huge Cardinals fan.
But I also watch them a lot, and all they do is win. They're 2-1 without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, but we're not a Cardinals podcast. But anyways, what I will say is I don't.
Start on with the Bill.
No, I think when we're talking like Patriots in the playoffs this year, a rookie quarterback's never been to the Super Bowl, and I don't think that's a mistake. It's hard for a rookie quarterback to go to the Super Bowl. I think, if the Patriots, I think for the season to be a success at this point, they need to win 1 playoff game. So if they get the 1 seed, that would mean getting to the AFC Championship. If they don't get the 1 seed, which would not be surprising because they have a tough schedule down the stretch, including the last 2 games where they just played the Titans and the Bills. They got to play potentially 3 playoff teams down the stretch of their last 4 games. At least 2, probably. Most likely, when it all gets said and done. So I don't know. I don't see this team necessarily in the Super Bowl. I think that would be a massive overachievement and something that we did not think going into this year, and not something that we should expect now, that they've won 7 games in a row. But I also will say the path is there simply because the Packers aren't in the AFC. The Bucs aren't in the AFC. We don't have to go against Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers this year with the Packers looking the way they look, or even the Bucs with that talent. The Chiefs aren't the Chiefs of last year. Their offense isn't humming. I'm less worried about them than I would have been if they played them last year. And same with the Bills or even the Browns of caliber of last year.
So it's more it's more the path for you versus
this
Patriots team, which isn't you again, you're not shitting on this team. That's not.
Yeah. I'm just saying the AFC is worse than the NFC when it comes to. I think the AFC is deeper than the NFC, but I look at the NFC between the Packers, Cardinals, Rams, and Bucks. I don't know what AFC team I like against any of those teams really if they make it. So if you're really even the Cowboys, but outside of those 5 teams, the NFC blows. But we're versus we just named 10 AFC teams. There's a big parity in the AFC right now. I just don't necessarily. So whoever comes out of the AFC, I think it could be a number. I think it could be literally any team we've really talked about tonight. Wouldn't be shocking, but that wouldn't be the case if you had a couple of those NFC teams.
No, I like that point. I'm kind of in the same boat in terms of it's almost like the path has been freed up. Not freed up. That's not the right way to put it. But there's no these bosses that you have to get through if this is a video game or something like that. You can kind of just keep playing. They can play. before the year, we thought that they would have to play great football to get to the Super Bowl or to get to the AFC Championship game. Now they really just have to play like above average, not above average, but good football, and they can beat some of these teams. Because honestly, some of these games, you mentioned, Adam, like beating the Titans and whatnot, like they didn't play great football in that game. They've played good football and beat some good teams. So I agree with that.
And just to tie a bow on it real quick, I saw a statistic, I think on Twitter, whereas like I think this is the first time in the history of the AFC where through 13 weeks, every team has at least 4 losses. So that kind of just proves what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like nobody's running away with it.
Yep. All right, let's jump into our Survivor here. And for the people in the stands watching at home here, what this it's not your typical Survivor pool. No one gets eliminated. It's not a streak thing. We just make picks. You just can't pick the same team each week. I think next year we might have to involve spread here because it looks a little bit too easy for Adam and Jake out here. Me, on the other hand,
come on, I was the dog picker early on.
And you lost like every dog pick. Now you're back to picking favorites. Maybe I'll stick to basketball next year because 7-6 for me. Adam's 10-3 and 9-4. If you guys didn't see an episode in the past, Adam and I made a bet for me to get 1 win and he gets a loss if the Jets beat the Bengals, which they did. But I'll just get my pick out of the way because I think that it's way less valuable because I'm probably gonna pick a team that's going to lose, and I'm picking the Broncos against the Lions here. I have not picked the Broncos yet.
Lions are hot. I don't like that pick.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Lions
of course
so
you don't.
Hot.
Why
Lions
would you
are
like any
hot.
of my
Lions
picks?
are back.
I look like a Christmas decoration with how much.
That was the one pick I circled. Was like if I had the Lions, though, I'd totally pick them in this situation.
I love that. You want to make a bet on it? You want to give me an extra win and you get an extra loss? You that confident? All right, who wants to go? Who? Which one of you guys?
I'll go next. This team, I think, is they had a big win last week. I think they could get a little streaky here at the end, and they're playing a god awful team who just cut their best linebacker. I'm going Seahawks over Texans in a blowout.
Seahawks. Have you taken them yet? No. Okay, that was one of my. You were mean about my pick.
Zach Cunningham.
Wow.
You were mean about my pick, but that was probably my second in line pick. So how does that feel that you were very mean to me and I'm being nice to you? But
thanks.
Yeah, Adam.
All right, I'm going with Jake's favorite player, taking it home for me, Herbert Poopy Pants and the Chargers.
Herbert.
Oh. All right,
you know the whole team is COVID, right?
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Chargers, Giants, guys. What we're doing, it's pretty simple. We're gonna have whoever wins this at the end of the year based on the record. Because obviously this is the first live that we've done. Winner gets a steak dinner on the 2 losers here. So I don't know if I have room to come back here. We'll see. Maybe you guys can finish the season like we expect the Ravens to.
Huh? Yeah, Abe and Louis or Capital Grill, whatever. Winner gets the pick.
I didn't know we were going. I didn't know we were going that big.
2 for 20 deal.
If I won this thing, you guys would have made out. You guys would have to each pay $10. Now you're gonna force me to drop 100 on a steak. Oh,
you would have gone to the Longhorn Steakhouse sirloin deal where it's like $10.99 on Thursday.
You can't sleep Longhorn. You don't sleep on the Longhorn Steakhouse.
No, Longhorn's great.
Yeah. See.
My grandma's favorite restaurant.
Hey, it's up there for me too. But all right, we can start closing up shop here. What'd you guys think about the doing the lives? We think we do lives more often.
I like the comments. I like the live aspect.
Yeah, we didn't give as much love to the comments as I normally would have liked to, I guess. But
next week we could do a live one where we just kind of feed into the comments because we have nothing else to talk about and buy.
True.
Very true. Very true. Look at that. Big idea, guy. Picking the Seahawks and everything.
You popped my live cherry, and now I'm just full live going forward.
Now you're like, I don't want to do any podcast where we just record. If it doesn't have a big red light, I'm not.
I'm a big live guy now.
All right, guys. Well, everyone, thank you very much for tuning. Obviously, if you're new and still watching, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and come back next week. We're recording these really on, I would say, what have we been doing? Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And sometimes they'll drop, midweek type of thing. So keep an eye out for that. But episode 14 of Down Pat in the books, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.